Hey everybody, it's Mark Cabana here. I wanted to record a quick update video to go over some of the major changes and great new features that are coming to the next update of Places Scout. So over the past few weeks, I've been working extremely hard on overhauling some of the core functionality of Places Scout, as well as trying to finish up the code for the new reputation management module. And I've made some pretty drastic new changes to the software. I felt that I needed to make these changes to clear up confusion that some users currently have using the software, as well as to provide a lot more flexibility when using Places Scout. The direction I'm heading is that Places Scout is becoming much more localized in the way it performs data gathering from specific Google locations. And in a nutshell, the changes I have made are going to provide much more flexibility in configuring what locations each keyword should be searched from, which I'll demonstrate in a moment. I've also added some enhancements to the user interface of Places Scout. I've fixed some minor bugs that exist in the current version, and I've done a lot of work on the reputation management module that everyone has been so eager to get their hands on. So with that being said, let's jump right in and go over some of these exciting new changes that are coming very soon to Places Scout. The first thing I want to show you is a neat little feature that I added to the UI, and that's the ability to collapse these tabs here on the left. So if you click this button down here, it's going to take the labels out of the tabs and just basically collapse them to the icons. So this is going to give you a lot more real estate when viewing the data in Places Scout, and really help those that have smaller screen resolutions so you can see more data on the screen without having to scroll to the right. Next, I'll cover what is probably the biggest change that is coming to this next version of Places Scout, and that's the way to configure what keywords and what Google locations a ranking report as well as the other modules should use when searching for data. So if I click on a ranking report here and I go to the edit report, I've drastically overhauled this user interface here on how to configure a ranking report for Places Scout. Now before I continue, I'd like to take a step back and go over the user interface for creating a ranking report in the current version. That way you understand some of the reason behind the changes that I made. So I'm going to switch over to the current version of Places Scout here, and here you'll see the current UI for creating a ranking report. You enter in your keywords, your keyword locations, and then there's the Google locations, and then down here you're going to see a list of the keywords that are going to be searched. Now, one of the reasons behind the changes that I made is because I feel a lot of people got confused. I had a lot of support tickets where people would say, hey, I entered this keyword here, I entered a keyword location here, and I watched the ranking report, but I didn't see it change the Google location to the location I entered here. And that's not actually how the software worked. Basically, with the keyword and keyword locations were simply a way to build common search terms to be used in the ranking report. So here you'd enter in keyword, your keyword location, then the actual search term would be what is in this box here. So chiropractor Los Angeles, depending on your variation type, Los Angeles chiropractor. And then if you wanted to have Places Scout change the Google location in the current version, you'd have to enter in a Google location here. And the only way it would change the location is if you chose to use the keyword only with location emulation variation type. And then when you did that, it would only use the keyword, and then it would switch the location to whatever you had in the Google location box. So the current version of Places Scout had some limitations in configuring what Google locations the software should use when performing these searches. The only way to get it to change the location is if you had a keyword in here, a Google location in the Google location box, and had selected the keyword only with location emulation search term variation type. Then it would search only the keyword, and it would change the location to whatever you had in this box here. And what that meant is that if you used any of these other search term variation types, such as keyword location, location keyword, there was no way to get Places Scout to change the Google location before it ran those search terms. So that was a big limitation in the current version, and it also presented some confusion because some people thought that the keyword locations were the ones that Places Scout changed the Google location setting to, and I just felt that this, while it worked well, it wasn't the best implementation for how I could allow people to use the different variation types as well as changing the Google location setting in the browser. And on top of that, another issue that I take full responsibility for is the fact that my tutorial video for creating ranking reports is pretty out of date. It doesn't demonstrate any of this new functionality on how to use location emulation in changing the Google location settings. So, it was really hard for people to understand how this all worked because the tutorial video was out of date, and I didn't have any explanation on what exactly triggered the software to change the Google locations. So these factors drove me to work really hard at redesigning this and make a new user interface that is a lot more flexible and intuitive on how to create ranking reports with keywords as well as the Google location settings for each of those keywords. So we'll switch back over to the upcoming version of Places Scout and cover this new user interface. So the first part's pretty similar. You give it a report name, sample report. You enter in a site URL or phone number to track. Now the biggest change I've made is I've separated the building of the common keywords apart from the Google location settings that these keywords should be searched from. So in the search term variations box, I have removed that keyword only with location emulation search term variation. And you'll see why here in a second. So if I type in some keywords here, we'll do restaurants, dinner, we'll type in some locations, Pittsburgh. As I type these different keywords and locations in and choose my search term variations, to the right here you'll see the keyword that's going to be searched in the Google location setting. Now I haven't configured the software yet to change the Google location setting for any of these keywords, but the purpose of the report keywords box, the report keyword location box, and the search term variations is to build a list of common keywords that are typically searched based on your keywords and the locations that you enter. Now here's where the increased flexibility comes into play with this new user interface in terms of configuring what Google locations each of these keywords should be searched from. Using the new Google location settings box, you can now easily configure what Google location settings you would like to use for each of the keywords that appear in the grid to the right. You can choose to use the default Google location setting, which means Places Scout is not going to change the Google location setting in the browser before searching for each of the keywords that appear to the grid in the right. In this case, the location setting in the browser will be the default location that Google sets your browser to when performing searches. In the United States, this is typically the closest location that Google can geocode your IP address to, and outside the United States, Google doesn't typically set any location, so it'll be more of a nationwide search. Just to be clear on exactly what the Google location setting is and what it means to use the default Google location, if I open up my browser here and search for this keyword, to the left here you're going to see a location populated. Now I haven't changed this location at all, so what I'm going to see here is the closest location that Google can geocode my IP address to. In this case I see Irwin, PA, which is a town close to where I live because that's where Google can geocode my IP address to. So if you don't change this location, using the default Google location will be whatever location you see in the browser by default if you don't change that location. Going back to Places Scout, you also see an option to use the following Google locations. So if I check this box and I paste in a location, to the right for each of the keywords that appeared in the grid, you're going to see a new entry with the Google location setting that I entered. So I can enter in multiple location settings here, and typically you can use either a city and state or a zip code, and you'll see new entries in the grid to the right for each of the keywords that I built using the keyword builder above, as well as what Google location setting those keywords are going to be run from. So with this new user interface, you can choose to use the default Google location for each of the keywords, or you can choose to use the following Google locations that you enter, or you can choose both. So if I always want to change the Google location setting before running these keywords, I can simply uncheck use the default Google location. Then in the grid to the right, you'll see just the keywords and what Google location setting they're going to be run through. This provides a lot more flexibility than the previous version, as now you can build any keywords that you want and then configure what Google locations you want to use for those keywords, rather than having to use that old keyword only with location emulation search term variation type. So you can see with this new UI, it's much more intuitive and much more flexible than what we had in the old version. Lastly, there's one more highly requested feature that I've added to the Rank Tracker report UI. And that's the ability to exclude certain keyword variation types from being searched in the ranking report. So if I'm going to go ahead and check the use default Google location setting, and I'm also going to check the keyword only search term variation, because that's typically the one we want to use the Google location setting changing for. So when I do that, what I can actually do is, if I don't want to run, say, this keyword restaurants from my default location or dinner from my default location, is I can simply uncheck these keywords here. And you'll see that they turn a reddish color and they are kind of grayed out. And what this does is it's going to exclude these keywords from the ranking report. So these keywords will not be run in the ranking report if they are unchecked. So if you don't want to run any of these specific variation types through the specific Google location setting that you can see, all you need to do is uncheck them and they won't be run in the ranking report. So with this new UI, you can see how flexible it is in not only building the keywords that you want, but also configuring what Google location settings you want to use, as well as excluding certain keywords from being run in the ranking report. One more thing here is that the map preview that used to exist where the current grid view is here has been moved to its own tab. So I can click the map preview tab to view the polygons for this ranking report. And one more thing, if you didn't already know, in the previous version I added support to gather screenshots of the SERP result pages for each keyword. So under the settings tab, you can gather screenshots for only the pages where your site ranks, or for all the SERP result pages. So you can use those, and Places Scout's going to provide a screenshot of the actual SERP result page as it was viewed in the browser when gathering the data. So that's actual proof of the rankings gathered, so there's no question on whether or not the rankings are accurate in Places Scout. Okay, so now that that's covered, I've actually ported a similar user interface for configuring keywords in Google location settings to the other sections of the program, so you can easily configure what keywords and locations you'd like to search in Places Scout in the Find Local Clients module and the Citation Finder modules. So we'll move on to those modules next here. Well, I do need to explain one more thing before I move on while we're still in the Rank Tracker module, and that's in regards to viewing the ranking reports. So in the previous version, if you use that keyword only with location emulation variation type, the keyword would actually have an asterisk next to it to denote that it was using a changed Google location. I've gotten rid of that in this new version because it's not really needed now that we have a keyword box here, and then we have the specific Google location setting that was used to run that report. So one important thing here is this column is always going to show whatever Google location setting was reported by the browser. So if you don't change the location setting, it'll always show whatever Google defaults your IP address to for the location. So just so you're clear on that this column is always going to show the default Google location setting in the browser if it's not changed, or it'll show the location that it was changed to. And one more thing, in regards to the screenshots, if you expand each result, you'll see two new tabs here. You'll see the organic SERP screenshots, so I can click on that and view the screenshot of the browser as it was appeared in Places Scout when it gathered data, and I can also do that for the Places results. So that's where that is. So let's move along to the other sections. So if we go to the Find Local Clients module, you'll see that I have changed the UI here on how to configure the keywords and locations to be used, as well as the Google location settings based on the previous UI that I just showed you. It's just a little bit condensed because we don't have as much real estate here. So you can go ahead and enter in your keywords in the same way here. Keywords, your keyword locations. And you'll see in a grid view down here the keyword and what Google location it's going to use. You can select your search term variations here, and you can also configure the Google location settings here. So I can use the default, or I can use the following ones that I enter. So if I choose that and enter my location, you'll see in this smaller grid view here the keyword in the Google location settings to be used. So I've had a lot of people request that this module, as well as the Citation Finder module, be allowed to use or to have the ability to change the Google location setting, and in the previous version that was not possible, but in this new version you will be able to do that. In the Find Local Clients, as well as the Citation Finder module, has a similar UI. Another thing too, I'm going to load some data that I gathered earlier today. So you'll see the new Google location setting column, and everyone will be glad to know that in this new version that the owner verified status for the Plus Local page has been fixed, and it now works due to a tip by a guy named Simon James. He figured out a way to determine whether or not a Plus Local page has been claimed by the owner. So thanks to Simon, we now have this new owner verified status back in Places Scout. I've also fixed the bug where you could not save the grid data in the current version, so you'll be able to do that in the new version, so I apologize for that bug in the current version. And I've also added a new feature that anytime you gather data using the Find Local Clients or Citation Finder modules, that the grid data will be automatically saved and backed up to an XML file on your computer after the search is done. That way, in case anything goes wrong, there'll be a backup of all the data that you gathered, and you won't have to gather it again. If I go to the Citation Finder module, a new feature I've added here is the ability to gather organic and 7-pack and blended results. Previously, this always gathered Places results, but now you can also gather organic 7-pack blended results in the same way the Find Local Clients module does. Moving right along, we'll go into the Create Client Report section. So if I select a ranking report and I click the Update Report Preview, I get my ranking report here. And another feature that many people have requested was the ability to exclude certain keywords from this report. So I can actually uncheck some of these keywords and click Update Report Preview, and it's going to remove them from the client ranking report. So previously you couldn't do that for exact keywords. You can only do it by keyword and location. So that's been fixed and added to this new version of Places Scout. And lastly, for this video, I'd like to cover the new upcoming reputation management module. So if we go here, I've done some work on this summary tab. It's not quite where I want it to be, but it looks a little bit better than it did before. And I've also been working hard on this module. So one of the biggest hiccups that I've had is the process of locating listings for the business that you've configured the reputation report for, and ensuring that that listing found is for the proper business. So this was a major problem because my first beta, basically Places Scout would try to find the listing and then make sure it's the right one and then gather the reviews, but you know, there were some bugs where sometimes it wasn't the right listing and it was pulling reviews for a wrong business. So I really needed to fix that, and that took a long time to write all that code that actually locates the listing and makes sure it's the right one for the business. So if I edit a reputation report now, there's a review sites tab here, and I can click this button here to auto-populate the review site listing URLs. And what Places Scout's going to do is, for the business that you've configured this report for, is it's going to search on all the supported review sites for the listing and try to find your business's listing for you. So you can see it's going to go one by one, and it's going to find them, and it's going to tell you whether it's found or not found. And you can simply use the URLs found, and if it doesn't find any and you actually have a listing, you can go ahead and paste in the URL. So I'm going to pause this and come back whenever it's done. Okay, we're just about done here. It's found most of the listings on the supported review sites here. So when it's done, it's going to give me a message that says, please review the URLs found to make sure that they're the proper listing for the business. So basically what you see here is boxes for your Yelp listing URL. So this needs to be the URL to the listing on Yelp for your business. And you can actually click this button here, and it's going to pull it up in your browser, so you can make sure that that's the proper URL for this business. So this was the major hiccup that's been really delaying the reputation management module, is being able to figure out the proper URLs for the business. So now that I have a way to automatically figure those out, as well as allow you to override and you know, paste in, say, you know, it didn't find the one on demand for, so if there is one, you can simply paste it in. This is really going to take out a lot of complexity of the of running the reputation reports, and I should be able to wrap this module up within the next week. So I've done some work on the summary tab here. You can see the word clouds there. I got the activity feed with all the reviews, the Google reputation. So one thing I do want to say is, for this for the first release of the reputation management module, I'm going to skip adding support for the custom client reporting, because that's going to take me a little while to do that properly. And it's basically going to focus on the core functionality of being able to harvest all the reviews for your business, filter them down based on rating or any of the available filters that we have, and simply being able to export that data to CSV, Excel, HTML, or PDF. That way, while I'm working on the client reporting tab, that section, it's not going to delay the release of this reputation management module. You'll be able to gather all the review data, you'll be able to export it, send it to people, and start prospecting while I finish up the custom client reporting. So that's that with the reputation management module. And as far as the time frame goes, I'm hoping to have this done within the next week. Now, I know I've been saying that for a while, but I finally figured out that code to auto-locate the review site listings for the business. So that was a major hiccup, and there was I had to write a ton of code to pull that off. But it works pretty well, and it takes a lot of the complexity out of using this module and gathering the proper reviews for your business. So I'm hoping to have this out within the next week, and you can see all the changes I've been making. I did think that changing the UI for the ranking reports and the find local clients and configuring the keywords was a little bit more important than getting the reputation management module done, as that that's really the core functionality of Places Scout, is being able to configure keywords and locations to search them from. So I wanted to get that working right, and I thought that was more important to make sure that the existing functionality of Places Scout worked as best as possible before I started adding any new features of the software. So that's it for the video. I'm going to get back to work here, and I appreciate you taking your time to watch this. And as soon as everything is ready, I will be sure to send an email out, post everywhere I can, and I'm looking forward to releasing this new update as quickly as possible. Thank you, and have a good day. Bye.